So good afternoon, good morning, or good night, everyone. My name is Tomoy Campbell, moderator for today. And welcome to the UE graduating class of 1970 Golden Reunion. I hope you're really excited. I saw everyone talking to each other. Pretty excited. So now it's time to get started for our evening. And I'm going to invite Celia Davidson Francis. She's the Director of Alumni Relations to bring greetings to you all. Davidson Francis, the virtual stage is now yours.
Welcome, welcome, welcome to you all. I'm delighted that you're all here. It was wonderful to see you all greeting each other from the classes of 1970 and 71. I have seen online that we have folks from Barbados, Canada, Florida, Jamaica, Guyana, California, Trinidad, and the Bahamas, and I'm sure there'll be some others joining us from other countries soon. As you heard, I'm the Director of Alumni Relations for the University of the West Indies, and I'm located in Kingston, Jamaica at the regional headquarters, and I'm going to be just delighted that this event is happening. I was absolutely determined that the classes of 1970 and 71 would have their 50th anniversary reunion celebrated, and so would not be derailed by something as trifling as a pandemic. So we have pivoted to the virtual world, and I'm sure that the virtual version will be highly appreciated by you all. And for your information, I'm also a proud UWI graduate of the Mona campus, Faculty of Humanities and Education, and an urbanite. So yay, go UWI. A lot has changed at the UE since you were there. For example, there was no institutional advancement division and no formal alumni relations programming. So I'm proud to be the first director of alumni relations for this university. When I joined in 2005, I was tasked with engaging alumni. And one of the first things I said to the alumni presidents of the time was that we needed an alumni pledge, and they agreed. So I wrote the one you see on your screen, and I was pleased when it was accepted. So they only wanted one addition, the last line, which was suggested by Ms. Maud Fuller, the president of the Toronto chapter, and I think it's a perfect addition. I also introduced the concept of Pelican Pride, as I felt that many graduates did not know the significance of the pelican on the UE crest and needed a symbol to coalesce around. I don't know whether you all know, but the UE pelican was chosen by UWI's founding fathers in 1948 because it was the only bird found in all the Caribbean islands that UWI was to serve, and because it was believed to be a nurturing bird to its young, just as UWI was to nurture and expand young Caribbean minds. So I'm going to invite you to listen to the pledge as I read it, and then to say the last line together with me at the end. So the reading of the pledge. As a graduate of the University of the West Indies, I commit myself to uphold the ideals and goals of my alma mater. My conduct and voice shall reflect the commitment to excellence of the light rising from the West as I fulfill my social and professional duties, and it's a legacy that I will proudly help build for future generations. And we can all say together, the UWI, first in our
hearts and first in our
hearts and first in our region.
First in our hearts and first in our region.
First in our hearts and first in our region.
First in our hearts and first in our region.
First in our region.
If we all are
UWI, first in our hearts and first in our region.
First in our region. The UWI, first in our hearts and first in our region.
The UWI, first in our hearts and first in our region.
First in our hearts, first in our hearts, first in our region.
UWI, first in our hearts,
UWI, first in our hearts and first in our region.
Wonderful, wonderful. It's great to hear all of you speaking and saying the last line of the alumni pledge. I also want to introduce Karina and Roseanne, who worked with me to put this program together. They played a major part in organizing the videos and the clips and being in contact with you all. So Karina, then Roseanne, thanks so very much. Your contributions have been invaluable. Please introduce yourselves and tell everyone what you do.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Roseanne Levy. I'm the UWI Medical Alumni and IAD Associate. I too am a UWI graduate. I graduated in 2018 from the Faculty of Social Sciences. I'm currently pursuing a Master's of Arts in Teaching at UWI Mona, and I'm really looking forward to having a good time with you all tonight.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Karina Dice. I'm the Campus Alumni Officer for the Mona Campus. I'm delighted to be here with you, and I've been in communication with a lot of you for the past month or so, and I'm finally happy to meet you all. Thank you for joining. I'm a graduate of the University of West Indies, 2013 graduate, and I look forward to a great evening. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Karina and Roseanne. I would also like to acknowledge the other campus alumni officers who assisted in getting the word out about this reunion. Mrs. Sandra Griffith Carrington of the Open Campus, based in Barbados, but she serves across the 17 UWI islands. Mrs. Roseanne Maxwell of the Cave Hill Campus in Barbados, and Mrs. Camille Edwards of the St. Augustine Campus in Trinidad. Also, Mr. Shavar Maloney of the Five Islands Campus in Antigua and Barbuda. He is the marketing manager there, but also assists with alumni relations, and they're all part of the alumni relations team, and I thank them all. I'd also like to acknowledge the executive director of the Institutional Advancement Division, Mrs. Elizabeth Buchanan Hind, and the rest of the Institutional Advancement Division, or as we call it, IAD team, as we work together to engage alumni. Thanks too to Gillian Glean Walker and Cecile De Paz, who have helped us tremendously in putting this on together this evening. Now, unfortunately, some members of your classes have passed on and cannot be with us. However, we wish to remember them and salute them. So you'll see the slide on the screen now. And if you know of any that we are unaware of, please put their names in the chat or email them to us, as we will be compiling a record of this event and putting it on the Alumni Online website for posterity. So I'd just like to say their names. The ones that we have are Rolston Adams of Grenada, Alphonsus Antoine of Grenada, Irvin Blair of Jamaica, Jean Fong Kong of Jamaica, Clive Hobston of Jamaica, Alan Laville, Canada and the US, Paul Lawrence from Jamaica, Oswald Leek, Jamaica, Lorna Murray, Guyana, Margaret Rice, Barbados, Joel Slack, Jamaica, and Candice DeShong, St. Vincent. So I'm going to ask now for a moment of silence as we pay tribute to the contributions they have made to their nations and the region. Please join me in a moment of silence. May their souls rest in peace. And now on with tonight's program. It will be wonderful. Thank you so much again for attending. You're now going to hear greetings specially recorded for you by the UWI Chancellor and Vice Chancellor.
My warmest congratulations to the graduating class of 1970 and 1971 as you celebrate your 50th anniversary reunion. It is a celebration with a difference. It is virtual, as have been most of the events since March 2020. Reunions are a time for reminiscing about shared experiences during your years at university, catching up on what you have done in the intervening years, and sharing photographs of your children and now your grandchildren, and making new memories to be shared with those progeny on your return to places far and wide. The virtual space can facilitate only so much, But nonetheless, it is possible to reconnect across oceans and continents. We have adopted a new normal, for the moment anyway, and look forward to a future when a hearty handshake and an embrace can replace the talking heads on a screen. I thank you all for your continued commitment to the University of the West Indies. The UWI has produced many stellar graduates who have gone on to serve their respective disciplines, countries, and the world with commitment and distinction. The light rising from the West has shone brightly across the world and will continue to do so for the foreseeable future. As you celebrate during this time of gathering, I urge you to reflect on the current student body and how you might be able to help them to excel and to live up to their fullest potential. There are many scholarship opportunities available to which we invite you to make additions, but there are so many other ways in which our students can be provided with assistance and guidance. Mentoring comes to mind immediately, and I am sure that the Alumni Relations Office will have more ideas to share. I urge you to continue to be engaged with your alma mater and to play a part in maintaining its tradition of excellence and service. My very best wishes for a wonderful reunion.
Thank you so much. And ladies and gentlemen, you just got greetings from the UWI Chancellor, Mr. Rob. And welcome to those who might have just joined us. You're definitely in for a treat. I want to see any attention to Mrs. Francis. I do remember Mrs. Francis saying there's something really special on pelican. Yes, it's a bird. Yes, it's in the but there's a little special attribute about the pelican to be the symbol on the crest for the UWI crest rather. If someone could me, I would love to see if someone remembers what is a special attribute rather. And I'm looking in the chat and I'm going to see if anyone could come really quickly. If perhaps Angela would come up, if Winston is going to come up, if David is, if Mick Farrell is going to come up. I'm looking in the chat. What attribute exactly brown pelican, why it was really chosen to represent the UWI on our crest. I said it, and I'm going to see if anyone remembers. While we're thinking about that one, we're going to go to our session where we will be hearing greetings from the UWI Vice Chancellor, Professor Sir Hilary Beck.
What a tremendous honor and pleasure it is for me to participate in this 50th anniversary reunion celebration of the classes of 1970 and 1971. Undoubtedly, from a historical perspective, you are very much part of a special moment in the development and evolution of our beloved university. You're part of the transition moment in which the university pushed away pedagogically from the colonial scaffold and emerged as a truly regional indigenous university. I refer, of course, to the moment between 1968 and 1970, in which students principally led a discourse that sometimes ended with demonstration, in which students and faculty, the university community on the whole, but primarily students, your generation, demanded cultural justice, social equality, and a sense of post-independence sovereignty and citizenship. In the case of Jamaica and the Mona campus, this took the form of what became known as the Walter Rodney Revolution, in which a young scholar, UWI's brightest and finest, emerging from the history department at Mona, returning home to be a professor of African history, told the Caribbean, told the university, found the support in the student body that the time had come to embrace the philosophy that Black culture matters, and that by extension, Black life mattered. Pushing for the teaching of African history, taking the university out into the community, linking town and gown, and creating a new ecosystem within the University of the West Indies that gave it its social and political legitimacy. You were all witnesses to that. You bore testimony to it. At the St. Augustine campus, this took the form of students joining with workers and trade unions to bring to an end the divisiveness of ethnicity in the country, pushing also for greater democracy, greater social justice, and calling upon the nation to emerge to celebrate its cultural and ethnic diversity. University students, your generation, were all a part of that. Over at the Cayfield campus, there were similar conversations in which Stokely Carmichael was invited to Barbados and to the Cayfield campus to speak about Africa, about the global struggles for democracy, anti-apartheid in Southern Africa, and pushing for recognition of African culture and civilization on the island. It was a remarkable moment. Freedom, ethnic diversity, democracy, and all of that gave fervent to the emerging UWI. You were the moment, you were the bridge that enabled the university to push away from the colonial scaffold to which it had been attached at its foundation in 1948. And so, from the 1948 moment, the University College of the West Indies, attached to the London infrastructure, but now moving to become a Caribbean indigenous university, moving to push its relationship to economic growth in the region, social justice, and deepening the political democracy process for independence. You were the bridge. You were the witnesses. You saw it. You were a part of it. And so we celebrate you really as a very special cohort indeed. So all of you who are celebrating this 50th anniversary, the class of 70 and 71, history has framed and projected you as a special group in the evolution of your alma mater. It is for me, therefore, a tremendous pleasure and honor to be a part of your celebration, to thank you for remembering those roots, those circumstances of your origins and your development. You are now a reflection of that moment in history when the University of the West Indies pushed away from its colonial pedagogy and mushroomed and emerged as a genuine decolonized University of the West Indies. You are our heroes and heroines. You are the mirror through which we reflect. Enjoy your celebration, and thank you for marking this moment. Best regards.
Ladies and gentlemen, you just heard from the Professor Sir Hilary Beckles, and I think we were all touched by his greetings to us. To be part, to have studied in such a historical moment, to be a part of a legacy, now celebrating with your fellow colleagues. I would say go Stars, and many applause to everyone on the Zoom land. And I must say, go Stars as well for the responses in the chat. As said, she is very happy that you remembered, and I'm happy that you also remembered too. So now we're making the program, and we're going to have a presentation entitled UWI Journey to the Top.
It all began with the dream of a team holding in hand a disruptive 10-year strategic plan intended to rekindle growth in the Caribbean economy. A strategy to refashion an excellent academy, the University of the West Indies, now 7 decades deep in service to its community, with an objective to lead it beyond its historic legacy, to glimpse, to grasp its long-desired destiny. The UWI, a strategy group, 5 campus principals, pro vice chancellors, registrars and finance officers, student organizers, ardent administrators and managers, and a vice chancellor. Backed by 17 Caribbean governments, supported by tested global partners, over a dozen distinguished universities, and a network of determined development donors. The plan, bold and courageous, was to take it to a place it had never before inhabited, to the top, there to dwell among the best, the world's best. For 5 arduous years, it was prepared to take international ranking tests. It did emerge at the top with the very best. First in the Caribbean, from a field of over 100 distinguished universities, top 3% of the hemisphere's best 2,000, and top 4% of the global best. The journey to the top took 1,000 steps, each a calculated choice, options for opportunities, rising on the shoulders of veterans and stalwarts, hundreds of men and women who fought heroically through the colonial phase to arrive at this stage. Revitalized with a one UWI vision, the UWI was launched upon its next voyage, leaving behind, with solemn celebration, the ancestral university of the prior century. Upward and onward, the new UWI was forged and refashioned as a university system, a system with multiple sectors, local and global. A 21st century university system redesigned to meet the region's future needs, guided by its AAA strategic plan with pillars of access, alignment, and agility, a vehicle for the voyage along the higher education highways of the future. First came the restructuring and refocusing of the open campus, and finally a 5th campus led by Principal Griffith, experience in action, erupting in the 5 islands community of Antigua and Barbuda and bearing its name. But in between, 8 new global university centers planned in partnership with the best universities. With the State University of New York, a joint center for leadership and sustainable development. In China, with the Global Institute for Software Technology, a joint center to train Caribbean software engineers in the sizzling technology park of Suzhou. In Africa, with the University of Lagos, Nigeria, a center for culture and arts. And in South Africa, with the University of Johannesburg, a joint center for global African studies. In Canada, with Brock University, a center for Canada-Caribbean studies. In Cuba, with the University of Havana, an institute for sustainable development of the Caribbean peoples. In England, with Coventry University, a joint center for industry academic partnerships. In Scotland, the UWI, University of Glasgow Centre for Research and Reparatory Justice, making history, the first university to apologize for enrichment from slavery and agreeing to pay reparations. And in the making, 2 new centers, one in the European Union to foster Caribbean post-Brexit interests, the other in South America, in Colombia, a joint teaching and research project at the University of the Andes. Finally, UWI rose as a founding partner in the 10-member University of Miami-based Hemispheric University Consortium, an online strategy to revolutionize research collaboration across the hemisphere. The UWI system then is a re-engineered global enterprise rooted in the Caribbean with a Caribbean mandate. While forging a bright future, it is sweeping away the dark colonial past. First, It institutionalized a gender policy, empowering and celebrating women within the system. Then Milner Hall, symbol of a celebrated imperial apartheid era, now erased and renamed by resident students, Freedom Hall, a lesson in liberation. Repatriated to regional justice, the role and function of the Queen of England as our visitor. Finally, a Center for Reparations Research and the P.J. Patterson Center for Africa Caribbean Advocacy, established to promote and guide the completion of the decolonization process. The UWI system, a new academic enterprise, transformed to better serve and sustain the transformation of the Caribbean region. The journey to the top was principally driven by programs with specific pedagogical purposes to protect and propel the people of the region. See, for example, the excellence of UWI medicine and UWI science active in the field, side by side with governments, fighting the war against viral pandemics. First with the Zika Task Force in 2016, now with the COVID-19 Task Force, both led by the persistent, dependable Professor Clive Landis. COVID, chronic disease, and climate change, the three deadly C's of Caribbean society, confronted, contested by UWI science. The UWI science sector, selected to lead climate change advocacy by the International Association of Universities, with a team of top-class scientists, Michael Taylor, David Smith, and John Agard, now preparing to pioneer the creation in the Caribbean of the world's first climate-smart university. The UWI system, a 21st century alignment-ready academy, now prepared to bond in capital markets with the private sector, aligned with top-class companies, Companion Travelers, Sagicor, NCB, JMMB, Republic Bank, Flow, Grace Kennedy, and a dozen others, focusing on funding top-class teaching and research. The Mona model, the passionate pursuit of revenue. Principal Weber, weaving magic to keep his city bright and well-watered, capturing capital to bring fruit home to his beloved Mona. Professors of practice, a class of honorary icons of industry brought on board to pave the path, strengthening industry academic relations. The UWI system ready for a new funding frontier beyond the public treasury into the territory of private equity, inviting investment partners to sustain the academy. Heads of governments meeting in Haiti agreed to reconcile all receivables in an assets for cash exchange. Prime Minister Rowley leading the field with the Couva Hospital deal, government and university owning and revenue sharing, calling Principal Copeland to craft UWI's largest ever project, an artery from St. Augustine to Couva to Destiny de Bay. Prime Minister Motley, sincerity on show, honored the Barbados debt, injected cash, reviving Cave Hill, connecting Principal Barito to Bridgetown, there to imagine a smart campus from gown to town. Grenada, granting 88 acres of land, and the Bahamas pledging 20 in Nassau. St. Vincent financing the largest open campus site, launching the mind of Principal Longsworth of the open campus into a new online orbit. But rising and capturing the top, ball beating were the students, creating sporting history on the journey. The combined campuses team, gloriously winning the 2018 Regional Super 50 Cricket Championship, defeating all challenges, claiming the status best cricket team in the West Indies. And there was more to the tour. Two students, Jason Holder and Carlos Brathwaite, carefully nurtured within UWI, rising to the top, taking the captaincy of West Indies teams in Tests and T20 respectively. With the power of example of student success came the plan to create a UWI-wide faculty of sport, the first of its kind in over 40 years, serving the region in the sport arena, an area of proven proficiency. The visual tapestry of these journeys to the top was captured and packaged for the community, regionally and globally, in a vision whose time had come, UWI-TV, a jewel in the crown. UWI-TV, for all to see, a 24/7 education cable channel like no other in the region and beyond, online and on everything, designed and directed by Janet Carew, bolted to the top with familiar Caribbean speed, representing the UWI brand daily before diverse audiences. The UWI system, 5 campuses, 8 global centers, a 21st century journey driven by development, designed for justice, arriving inexorably at the apex. Captured, crystallized in a 2019 BBC Caribbean report in which the world was told that the region, while facing many serious challenges, can look to the future with optimism, knowing that within it resides a top-ranked, high-class, global university. The University of the West Indies system, locally relevant, globally ranked and agile, an activist academy with a charismatic Caribbean personality, regionally rooted like no other.
Phenomenal. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I think University of the West Indies deserves a round of applause for that, whether it's me you clapping right now or perhaps using the emoji. I sat here and I heard about the innovation that the campus is really taking on. We talked about the COVID-19 task force, the Zika task force. We talked about the groundbreaking movements rather in climate change, sustainable development. The UWI has a faculty of sport, the first in 40 years. Just amazing, and as we like to say, creme de la creme. And I think, ladies and gentlemen, you ought to be proud to have gone to this university, but also witness the greatness that it has to become over time. So now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to make our way into just having another greeting by Dr. Cecile Deepas and Professor Patsy Prussia. So let's turn our attention and invite them to the virtual stage. That's Dr. Cecile Deepas and Professor Patsy Prussia. The virtual stage is now yours.
Okay, hi everyone, greetings. Thanks Celia and your team for the opportunity for us to remember and reflect on the contributions that the University of the West Indies has made to our lives. For very detailed memories of the UWI, please see Cultural and Pedagogical Inquiry, I repeat, Cultural and Pedagogical Inquiry, an online open access free issue, which is volume 11, number 2, 2019. So I'm not going to share any memories. However, I have asked Gillian Glean, who has been very active, Gillian Glean Walker, to share my 1 minute, 2 minutes. Gillian, it's your turn.
Oh, well, all I can do is to bring greetings as well. Grenadian living in Jamaica, and really happy for this to have happened. The video we saw a minute ago, the presentation was awesome. I did note though that our chancellor was missing, but when you add the strength of our chancellor with the business expertise that he has in the Caribbean, with the vice chancellor with his academic expertise, if we can marry the two, we have a fantastic future. It's wonderful to see all the faces, and some of the faces that we can recognize. And you might recognize me, some people cannot, because there are changes in the last 50 years, right? Whoa, right? But it's great for us all to be here. I'm looking at the screen and I can see Missouri, as one with Beverly Beckford is another one. Of course, Cecile and Tony, both coming out of Calgary. And that's the beauty that we're all over the world. There's Carol Edwards, Carol Slusher, right? Unfortunately, here without her partner, virtually her cousin Patrick Manning, who has passed. And there's so many others, and I go to the next page there even more. So it's wonderful to be together. I do suggest, though, that this 1 hour can't do it. I do suggest that we meet again. Could we meet next week? And we can meet by faculty, or we can meet by hall, because that's where the links are, you know. It's fine to talk about all of us, but there's some names that I never saw before, quite honestly, in the 2 years that I was on Mona campus. But if we broke it down a little bit and met again and again, right, as hall, as faculty, it'll be wonderful. And then just carrying the news of what happened tonight to others, it would be even better than we already have. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. It is indeed a privilege to bring greetings from the medical class of 1971. I am Patsy Prusher, retired professor of anatomical pathology, Keyville campus. I received my primary and secondary education at St. Mary's Primary School and St. Mary's College, located in Above Rock, St. Catherine, and the Convent of Mercy Alpha Academy, Kingston, Jamaica. The members of the graduating medical class of 1971 came from varying backgrounds. Our parents were Jippy Japper straw hatters, farmers, teachers, artisans, tailors, lawyers, diplomats. We hailed from Antigua, Bahamas, Barbados, Belize, Grenada, Guyana, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Trinidad and Tobago, Jamaica, and the USA. We entered the UWI in 1965, starting with classes in the pre-medical sciences to obtain the prerequisite science subjects to study medicine. Many of our high schools then did not offer all the necessary science subjects. I had to do pre-med physics and organic chemistry from scratch. My hall of residence was Taylor Hall, the Hall of Halls. At this time, the entire undergraduate, preclinical and clinical medical courses were taught at the Mona campus. However, due to increasing number of students entering the medical faculty, the number of teaching beds at the university hospital became inadequate to sustain and maintain the requirement for the UWI medical teaching accreditation. So, in 1967, the Eastern Caribbean Medical Scheme was established to teach medical students during the final clinical year in Barbados and Trinidad at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital and the Port of Spain General Hospital, respectively. In 1970, our final clinical year, the class of 93 members was split. Approximately half remained in Jamaica, and the other half transferred to the Eastern Caribbean to return to the Mona campus to write the final MBBS examination. Several Jamaicans were included in this Eastern Caribbean contingent. The Barbados contingent included Andre Hanna from the Bahamas, Shirley Brathwaite from Barbados, Charles Denbo and Joseph Caesar from Ghana, Esmond Garrett from Belize, and the others were Jamaicans. The Trinidad contingent included Barbadians Trevor Atherley, David Sharp, and Hamid Patel, Grenadian Alpha Seals, Jamaicans Antoinette Sutherland, Neville Williams, Douglas MacDonald, and Errol Bennett, and the others were mainly Trinidadians. We had new Caribbean cultural experiences, We developed camaraderie, and we established long-lasting friendships and loving unions. After internship, our paths separated for individual career pursuits in which we all excelled. Some of us remained in the Caribbean and established an incestuous postgraduate relationship with our alma mater, the UWI, including yours truly. Others ventured to the northern climes, where some remained and others returned after postgraduate studies, they to give back to the Caribbean. Remember our 26 departed brothers and sisters. May their souls rest in peace. We lost Joseph Caesar, Howard Cash, and Glenn Owen very early, and more recently, Horace Tony Vendries and Ray Dixon. We thank God for the UWI, without which some of us, including myself, would not have obtained a tertiary education. We also thank our teachers and mentors, including our parents. Let's toast to life and friendship. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your greetings, Dr. Cecile DePass. And thank you so much, Professor Patsy Prussia, and also Julian for offering greetings. I'm looking through the chat and I'm seeing a lot of doctors, a lot of persons from the medical sciences. I'm seeing the faculty of arts. I'm seeing social sciences, accounting and economics, engineering, arts with specific focus on history, languages. I see some Mary Seco Hall women in our chat as well, and persons from Irving Hall. I see Spanish and economics. I'm a little hurt. There aren't any lawyers in our chat. There's no one from the Faculty of Law. I'm still looking out. I still see more art. I cannot also help seeing Hazel Simmons McDonald, and I'm still thinking it's the very same Hazel Simmons McDonald who did World of Poetry and World of Prose. Those were the mecca of my literature experience in high school and some of the books that made me fall in love with literature. So I do hope it is Mrs. Simmons McDonald. Thank you so much for your contribution and making literature a world of love for students like myself. I still see social sciences, sociology. I'm still a little hurt that I don't see the Faculty of Law, but that's okay. We can do that another time. That's my faculty. So ladies and gentlemen, as you let us know your faculty as well as your Hall of Residence in the chat, we're going to move straight now into a trip down memory lane. So you want to reminisce on what it was like in your time at the UWI, and this will be done by Dr. Paul Steinbach. Beautiful memories. So Dr. Paul Steinbach, the virtual stage is yours.
Okay, well, thank you very much. So this was 1965, the registry. I don't know what things look like. I haven't been there in Jamaica for many years. It might look exactly the same or different. And I have a number of photographs because, as I will tell you, I've developed an interest in photography at UWI, and this has continued to the present day. Next slide, please. So this is our chapel, which everybody will be familiar with. Next. Next. And I think this is a cafeteria, but you can correct me if I'm incorrect on this one. The next one. And I was in Chancellor Hall, and this is Chancellor Hall taken from where I was in Block C, and looking at the cafeteria area on the left-hand picture, and at night, the same thing in the evening. Next slide. And I do have some photographs of Irving Hall as you walk toward the hospital and part of Taylor Hall. Next slide. And Mary C. Cole Hall in the evening. Next slide. One evening in 1967, the lights went out at night. And in Block C, where I was on the 3rd floor, everybody got together, played guitar, was singing songs, and this is the group of people on our balcony. You may recognize some of these people, I don't know. Next slide. And these people dressed up to cheer for the football team, Chancellor Hall football team in 1967. Slide. I went away to England for a year to complete a bachelor's degree, and then came back, and I was fortunate to be put in the nunnery, which no longer exists. But here we were at the nunnery playing dominoes on the balcony. And some of the people who were in the nunnery with me here on the right-hand picture, some people might recognize Curtis Cox and Irvin Smith, who, when we drove up to Newcastle one day. Next slide. And this is the hospital as it was in 1969, or part of the hospital anyhow. Next slide. And Christmas time, the hospital was decorated, quite an open ward system. The sister was there with a Christmas tree, one of the staff nurses in white, and the student nurses with a pink top. Next slide. In 1969, we went into Trenchtown, I remember. I'm not quite sure what we were doing with the kids, whether we were giving them immunizations or checking them out or what, but here we are, and this is Marjorie Thompson. You can see her, just her back with one of the kids, and I took a lot of photographs of the kids in this area. Next slide. And on the left is Albert Smith and Marjorie Thompson, Antoinette Sutherland, who I see is with us this evening. And they were visiting a bakery at the time. Next slide. Matriculation, 1969, there was a big walkout and then a sit-in. And the guild president was there at the top left picture, addressing the students. I can't remember what the sit-in was all about. Somebody might remember. Next slide. There are many carnivals, of course, every year. This was in 1970. The Sikalites on the left, the Irvinites on the right. Next. And these were the three winners of the individual costumes for 1970. Next. The Student Union. There were some graffiti here. You can see Rastafari and Haile Selassie. And remember this as I comment about another picture shortly. Next slide. That the Student Union, here was 1969 Jouvert, dancing, beer drinking competition. Next slide. And we had a lot of different performers at our fetes and dances that we had at the Student Union. Here is Roy Shirley, High Priest of Soul, and Toots and the Maytals. Used to have Byron Lee and the Dragonaires at the time. I don't have a photograph of them. Next slide. But in some of the hall events themselves, not at the Student Union, we had singers, and these are the Irving Hall Supremes. I was very fortunate because of my interest in photography, and when I started to I got invited to all of these dinners to take photographs of the students at dinner. And I could go right up to the front of the stage and take photographs of the performers, like this one from right at the front of the stage. Next slide. So in 1970, I went on my public health rotation, and I went to Clarendon, to Maypen, where things were a little different from down in Kingston. As you can see here with this cow, it's being butchered. Our medicine was competing in a way with traditional Jamaican medicine, and we visited an Obia man's yard. Again, I love to photograph the kids. Next slide. And at the public market in Maypen, I photographed this group of people, including this Rasta person. And he came up to the car. I was sitting in the public health officer's car, and he came up to the car and wanted to know why I was photographing him. And he looked a little bit threatening, but I said, you know what? We had a special celebration for Haile Selassie 2 weeks ago, and I don't recall seeing you at the celebration. Were you there? And he said, no, I didn't get to that. And I said, oh, okay. He said, you can take my picture as much as you want now. He was quite pleased that I had been at this celebration. And as I said, I got involved with photography. And the person who got me involved is shown on the left. I don't know his first name. He was Anderson. He was in the Chancellor Hall, and he was the president of the Camera Club in 1965 when I came to UE. And everybody called him Andy, and I still don't know his first name. But at Christmas time, the Camera Club went on a field trip to Puerto Rico. And I got my first single lens reflex camera for that field trip, opened it in the airport, bought it duty free. And this picture that I showed you is from the first roll of film that I ever photographed with a 35mm film, and it was Castillo del Moro in San Juan. Next slide. And we had many field trips with our camera club. One was overnight in the grill, and these pictures were taken on that particular trip. Next slide. So I became eventually the president of the camera club. And in 1971 at the Jamaican Festival, I was fortunate to win a Challenge Cup for amateur photography. And I'll just show you some of the photographs that I submitted to that festival. Next slide. A lot of children. Next slide. Even has some nude photography. And photography has become very important, especially during this COVID restriction time. And I've been walking every day and taking photographs as I've walked throughout the year. I'll just go through just a few different seasons. This is spring of last year with the cherry blossoms in Vancouver. Next slide. In the summer, this is Vancouver at dusk. Next slide. In the fall, a Japanese maple that looks like it's on fire. Next slide. And winter, 2 pictures. This is Vancouver in the harbor area. And final picture, my own home in the backyard. This is what it looks like in May with Wisteria arbor, where we can sit out and have our meals. Thank you very much for the opportunity to share these pictures with you.
No, we should be thanking you. This was absolutely amazing. I wish I was in the camera club now, because you got to travel everywhere and got access to all the parties and events. I think probably your friends might have envied you, but this was absolutely wonderful. Things are a little different now at the campus rather, but I still identify with some of the things that you showed us. So thank you so much for your presentation, and I'm sure it brought back memories for many of us. I'm still looking in the chat, and there are so many persons who are coming from the Faculty of Arts. I'm still seeing engineering. I think I also saw the Carnival Queen for 1970. So we have a queen here in our chat. I see medicine as well. And I don't see any law. I'm a little broken, but we will move on. Please keep on telling us your faculty as well as your Hall of Residence. So we got awesome pictures from Paul. We went through memory lane. We heard from the Vice Chancellor. We heard from the President, from the Chancellor rather. And we heard also just a lot of greetings and presentations. Now we're on to the next part of our session, where we're going to do Golden Graduate Highlight. And ladies and gentlemen, please turn your attention to the presentation on the screen.
To
That was absolutely beautiful. I was just smiling away, looking at all of those memories. I think everybody should just give another round of applause. Absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Thank you so much. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're winding down, but we're coming now to a special part, or even more special part of the program, and it's our Golden Graduate Highlight. Now, we thought it would be wonderful to highlight the life achievements of the graduating classes of 1970 and 1971 for all the amazing work that you have done and the lives you have impacted so many people within the Caribbean and around the world. But we just thought that we had to randomly choose 4 graduates, 2 from the class of 1970 and 2 from the class of 1971. And we hope that you enjoy this segment of the program. So ladies and gentlemen, please turn your attention to the screen for this part, or Golden Graduate Highlight.
It is hard to summarize all the accomplishments of Her Excellency Ambassador A. Missouri Sherman Peter. However, it is my profound pleasure to highlight some here on this special occasion. She is a stalwart lover and supporter of UWI, and I know that you all know she is known simply to many of you as Missouri. It is with delight that I share with you what Missouri has been doing. She is the CARICOM Ambassador and Permanent Observer to the United Nations, a highly accomplished trailblazer of the Bahamas Foreign and Public Service and International Affairs, and her career spans over 4 decades and has taken her to countries on every continent in the world. She is a proud Pelican, having received a Bachelor of Arts in History, Special Honors from the UWI Mona, as well as an honorary degree from the UWI in 2015. She also holds a Master of International Affairs, International Law and Organization, Columbia University, New York. Missouri established the Bahamas Consulate in New York in 1977, making her the first Bahamian woman to establish and head a foreign mission of the Bahamas, and marked the beginning of her extensive list of first woman in the Foreign Service of the Bahamas. She was also Consul General for the Bahamas in New York, Deputy Permanent Representative to the United Nations, High Commissioner to Canada, High Commissioner to Zimbabwe, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and in the combined Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Office of the Attorney General, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of National Security, and Advisor to the Minister, and Ministry of National Security. She has participated in over 30 sessions of the UN General Assembly and as a high-level expert in groups appointed by 3 UN Secretaries General. In the Organization of American States, she has participated in bodies including those on trafficking in drugs and persons. In her current post as CARICOM's UN Ambassador and Permanent Observer, Ambassador Sherman Peter represents the CARICOM Secretariat in the UN General Assembly and its related bodies, on the UN Department of Global Communications Remember Slavery Advisory Committee, and is the CARICOM Secretariat Liaison with the CARICOM Caucus of Permanent Representatives in the UN, New York. She has written on a wide range of topics which appear in UN bulletins and Commonwealth publications, and has been lead writer on Commonwealth publications on refugees and a new humanitarian order. Missouri has many awards, including the Order of Distinction, National Award from the Bahamian Government, the Hero of Baintown Award, the International Woman of Courage Award from the U.S. Embassy in Nassau, and a Papal Medal from Pope John Paul II. She is a highly sought-after public speaker, addressing audiences in the Caribbean, North America, and Europe, and covering national, bilateral, regional, and international issues. She has lectured and spoken in academic institutions, including St. Andrews University, Scotland, Columbia University, New York, USA, Oxford University, England, and her alma mater, the UWI. So, kudos and congratulations to Missouri. We are happy to recognize her at this special class of 1970-71 50th anniversary event as a wonderful example of the contributions that all of you, the members of these 2 classes, have made in your own communities and nations. Ambassador Missouri Sherman Peter, we all salute you.
It is not an easy task to sum up Mr. Robert G. Cranston in just a couple minutes, but this evening I'll try my very best to highlight some of his major accomplishments. Mr. Cranston, a double graduate of the UWI, first graduating in 1970 with a Bachelor of Science in Economics, and again a couple years later with a Master of Science in Accounting. He is a retired fellow of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Jamaica and specializes in financial management with a passion for timely financial reporting and good corporate governance. He worked as the Senior Vice President of Finance and Corporate Planning at the Jamaica Urban Transit Company Limited, as well as worked as the Chief Financial Officer in both the public and private sectors in companies such as Air Jamaica Limited, Batashu Company, BRC, and Crawford Flesher Insurance Brokers, just to name a few. He was the Chief Executive Officer of Trans Jamaica Airline, Air Jamaica Express, responsible for turning the loss-making airline into a profitable one for 3 consecutive years. He was also responsible for upgrading the airline from piston to turboprop with the introduction of the Dornier 228 aircraft. He served as president of the National Water Commission for 2 years, where for the first time in 10 years, the commission was able to record a profit and obtain an unqualified audit report. He presently sits on the following boards: Restaurant of Jamaica Limited, Burger King, Club Caribbean Hotel Limited, and the Audit Committee of the Administrator General's Department. He also served as director at the National Housing Trust, National Insurance Fund, the University Hospital of the West Indies, the Finance Committee Chair for the National Health Fund, Trans Jamaica Airline, Air Jamaica Express, Air Jamaica Limited, Jamaica Railway Corporation, Jamaica Mutual Life Assurance, NEM Insurance, international hotels such as Edenism, Jamaica Hotel, Bascobel, Terra Nova, and Bloody Bay Hotels Limited. He also served as director for the Trelawney Sugar Company and chairman and trustee of Club Caribbean Pension Fund. His extracurricular activities allowed him to serve as past chairman of the Charlemont High School Board, past treasurer of the Kingston YMCA, and auditor of the Jamaica branch of the UWI Guild of Graduates from 1975 to 1990, and then another 5 years as treasurer for the UWI Guild of Graduates. He served as chairman of the fundraising committee for the Jamaica Red Cross Society. He also finds time for chess, lawn tennis, golf, and is now an active member in the Trailblazers Toastmasters Club. His favorite quotes are, "Serve others as you wished to be served," and "It always seems impossible until it's done." Congratulations, Mr. Robert E. Cranston, on being an outstanding graduate from the class of 1970 and a staunch supporter of the UWI.
I am pleased to highlight some of the many achievements of Dr. Joy Mighty now. Born in Georgetown, Guyana, Dr. Mighty has an eclectic academic background and a wealth of experience as an administrator, teacher, educational developer, researcher, and consultant. She is a proud UWI graduate who obtained her bachelor's in English from the UWI Mona. After obtaining her bachelor's in English, she began her career as an educator with a brief stint at her alma mater, Bishop's High School in Georgetown, Guyana. She soon returned to Jamaica, where she taught at Cornwall College and was one of the 7 co-founding pioneer lecturers at the Sam Sharp Teachers College in Montego Bay. She resumed her studies at UWI, where she obtained her postgraduate diploma in education, master's in education, and a postgraduate diploma in management studies. She briefly served for 3 years as a training officer at the Jamaica National Building Society. This experience reaffirmed her passion for academia, and she went on to earn her MBA from Howard University in Washington, D.C., and her PhD in organizational behavior from the Shuley School of Business at York University in Toronto, before settling into the academic community in Canada. Dr. Mighty recently retired from Carleton University in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, at the distinguished rank of Professor Emerita. She previously served as Carleton's Associate Vice President and later as Senior Scholar for Innovation in Teaching and Learning in the Office of the Provost and Vice President, on secondment as a full professor from the Sprott School of Business and the Pauline Jewett Institute of Women's and Gender Studies in the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences. She has provided consulting services to private, public, and not-for-profit organizations in Canada, the Caribbean, China, England, Germany, Japan, Saudi Arabia, South Africa, and the USA. In 2001, Dr. Mighty was selected as New Brunswick's representative on the Canadian National Non-Governmental Organizations Steering Committee for the NGO Forum at the United Nations World Conference Against Racism, Racial Discrimination, Xenophobia, and Related Intolerance, held in Durban, South Africa. In 2018, she was selected by Academics Without Borders, AWB, to advise a newly established university in Uganda on its strategic planning and implementation strategy. As a retiree, she currently serves on the AWB Board of Directors and chairs the STLHE Task Force on Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion. A frequently sought keynote speaker at regional, national, and international conferences, she has also published in various conference proceedings, journals, and books, and is the co-editor of the highly acclaimed publication, Taking Stock: Research on Teaching and Learning in Higher Education. Dr. Mighty has received numerous awards for excellence in teaching, research, professional service, and leadership, including the first ever award for excellence in teaching at the Faculty of Business Administration at UNB. She has been listed in both editions of Who's Who in Black Canada, Black Success, and Black Excellence in Canada, a contemporary directory. In 2020, she was honored with the Christopher Napper Lifetime Achievement Award, a prestigious national award that recognizes the significant lasting contributions she has made throughout her career to post-secondary education in Canada and beyond. We are happy to recognize her at this special class of 1970-1971 50th anniversary event as a wonderful example of the contributions that all the members of these classes have made in their own communities and nations. Dr. Joy Mighty, we all salute you.
It is difficult to sum up all the accomplishments of Mr. Paris Liu Ayi Sr. I have to make this distinction as his son, Paris Liu Ayi Jr., is also very accomplished in his own right, no doubt due to the example set by both his parents. It is my great pleasure to highlight some of Paris Sr.'s accomplishments on this special occasion. He is a stalwart supporter of his alma mater, so I am delighted to share with you what he has been doing. First, his UWI connection. He holds a BSc Honours degree in Special Geology from the UWI received in 1971. He also holds a Master of Engineering degree in Mineral Engineering Management from the Pennsylvania State University. His UWI ties are strong, as he currently serves on the Campus Council as the Chancellor's nominee, the Finance and General Purposes Committee, the Campus Audit Committee, the Strategy and Policy Committee, and the Buildings and Grounds Committee of the Mona campus. He is also a member of the Board of Directors of the Mona Geoinformatics Institute. Interestingly, he has also served as a member of the Board of Directors of the Jamaica Bauxite Institute, St. Anne Jamaica Bauxite Partners Limited, the Water Resources Authority, and the National Resources Conservation Authority, and the King's House Foundation. A geologist and mineral engineer, he worked at the Jamaica Bauxite Institute since its inception in 1976 as a foundation member and was its executive director for 23 years, retiring in May 2018. For his service to the bauxite and alumina industry in Jamaica throughout his career, The government of Jamaica awarded him the Order of Distinction, Rank of Officer in 1988, then the Order of Distinction, Rank of Commander in 2007. Paris was the president of the Geological Society of Jamaica and is a member of the International Committee for Studies of Bauxites, Alumina, and Aluminium, and the Society of Mining Engineers of the American Institute of Mining, Metallurgical, and Petroleum Engineers, the International Association for the Study of Bauxite, Alumina, and Aluminium, awarded him its prestigious gold medal in 1988 for his contribution to the international bauxite and alumina industry. He is an acknowledged expert on Jamaican bauxite and the industry in general, and has published more than 24 papers on bauxite, both locally and internationally. He is also known for his work on the management of local and regional geological and mineral resources for development and environmental sustainability. He joined the board of directors of the Jamaica National Building Society in June 2007, having previously served as the director of NEM Insurance Company Jamaica Limited, a subsidiary of the Jamaica National Group. A board member of the Jamaica National Foundation since 2007, he was appointed chairman of the Jamaica National Small Business Loans in 2009 and chairman of the Jamaica National Foundation in 2018. With the launch of the Jamaica National Bank in February 2017, he was appointed a board member of the restructured mutual holding company, the Jamaica National Group. He has been a member of the board of directors of the Caribbean Cement Company and was appointed chairman in 2017. So, kudos and congratulations to Paris. We are happy to recognize him at this special class of 1970-71 50th anniversary event as a wonderful example of the contributions that all of you, the members of these two classes, have made in your own communities and nations. Paris Liuai Senior, we all salute you.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a round of applause for our amazing, iconic graduates. You are all superb, and we just wanted to take the opportunity to randomly select 4 persons, and trust me, you're all doing amazing in your field. And I must note that Ambassador Missouri, although she boasts her many accolades, here's one special one. She was a star fast bowler and at Seco, and the Chancellor guys are all afraid to bat against her. So she's killing it in so many different spheres and also ensuring that the Chancellor guys get a run for their money. So we just want to big up all of our graduates and special kudos to our highlighted graduates. So ladies and gentlemen, we're almost winding down, but just before we come to the end of our program, we're going to go to the class gift appeal. So we're going to go to our class gift appeal, and I'm going to ask you to turn your attention to the screen.
I hope that you've been enjoying your 50th anniversary class celebration. Now I'd like to talk to you about keeping connected in a tangible way. You have all contributed to this evening by further reaching out to your classmates and friends and by providing information and photos, and have shown wonderful pelican spirit, and this is truly appreciated. Members from both the class of 1970 and 71 have also shown further interest in showing class pride by contributing to class gifts. So, I would like to suggest a novel way of contributing. Any amount is welcomed, because collectively you will impact your alma mater positively. The pandemic has been challenging for everyone, so how about asking your friends and family to make contributions as either a birthday, anniversary, or special other event instead of giving you a gift on your behalf? Of course, you can donate as well. Alumni philanthropy is a marvelous way to honor the legacies of both classes, which will benefit both present and future students at the University of the West Indies. I will be inviting each class to indicate what exactly their particular gift is to establish or go towards. For example, student scholarships in a particular faculty, increasing access to online resources for students, or improving technology equipment at a particular or several campuses. These are just some examples of worthwhile causes that your classes can establish or contribute to. What's better than a philanthropic gift in your name in honor of your time at the UWI?
Of course, your gifts would be gratefully acknowledged and recognized by the university. I invite you to encourage contributions between now and December 1st, 2021, and will be emailing you with details and an easy online link through which you can donate. Karina, Roseanne, and I will keep you updated as to the philanthropic cause selected by each class and the progress in terms of contributions. It was our honor and pleasure to recognize both classes at this virtual 50th anniversary reunion, and we hope that you will keep in touch with us and each other.